Welcome back to Keep It Real Boxing. This is Cypherbox, and congratulations to Errol Spence Jr. for his victory over Lamont Peterson last night. Very impressive. I will say this: I don't think Errol Spence Jr., in my opinion, even got out of second or third gear. And imagine, if that's Errol Spence Jr. in second and third gear, imagine what he'll be like when he drops it into fifth. I mean, it was a really good performance from him. The fight was stopped after the 7th round by Lamont Peterson's trainer after, he endured some serious punishment at the hands of Errol Spence Jr. One thing's for sure, Errol Spence Jr. continually shows us that, he's the real deal, and he's someone that needs to be taken seriously when it comes to the welterweight division and the world of boxing. Okay, before I talk any more about Errol Spence Jr., I want to talk about Lamont Peterson first. I have to say, was rather disappointed in Lamont Peterson. Now, I'm going to go back to my prediction video. Now, if you remember, in my prediction video, I asked a question. Which Lamont Peterson were we going to see? Were we going to see the Lamont Peterson we saw against Danny Garcia, who boxed, moved, used the ring, got in, got out, counter punching, all that sort of stuff, it's smart, intelligent boxing? Or were we going to see the Lamont Peterson who's going to stand flat-footed, walk forward and decide to trade with Errol Spence Jr.? And if you remember, I said we need to see the first one. That we need to see a Lamont Peterson who's going to box, move, use his ring intelligence, be slick in there. Get in, get his shots off, get out. Don't stand in front of Errol Spence Jr. and give him an easy target. And even though I suggested that, I still said Errol Spence Jr. will win the fight, but I felt Errol Spence Jr. would win the fight in the latter rounds. So probably from the 8th or 9th, he'll start breaking down, start really going to work on Peterson. And then 10, 11, 12, you'll see a stoppage. If we saw that Lamont Peterson, we were probably seeing a more competitive fight, in my opinion, and not such a one-sided fight. Even Peterson's trainer in the corners was telling him, use your jab, box, use the jab, work off the jab, everything off the jab, which is what I suggested as well. And he went the complete opposite. He decided to walk, stand in front of Errol Spence Jr., give him a target. He wasn't throwing punches himself. Maybe that was down to a lack of confidence. He felt obviously Errol Spence's power perhaps, and then doubting his own abilities and his own skill sets, which, you can understand because, Errol Spence Jr., like I said before, the man hits hard. He is a power puncher, that man. He pretty much got everything wrong. Didn't use his jab like his corner was telling him, like I suggested. Wasn't boxing like his corner said, like I suggested. Use the ring, move, pull Errol Spence Jr. Around the ring. Even like it seemed like to me he was trying to press Errol Spence Jr. You're not going to do that with him. You can't do that with Errol Spence Jr. You can't stand there going toe to toe or trying to pressure him to move back. I believe, if you're going to have any chance of beating Errol Spence Jr., the way you've got to do it is you've got to box and box smart. There's no point trying to compete with him when it comes to power or trying to stand there and trade with him. It's just not going to work. You're just playing into his hands and making it his fight. After the knockdown, Errol Spence Jr. just really went to work, in my opinion, on Peterson, just finishing the job off really and breaking him down systematically. And it was a really good performance by Lamont Peterson, by Errol Spence Jr. But like I said, I don't think we've seen the very best from Errol Spence just yet. I don't even think he got out of second or third gear last night. Personally, looked like he hardly broke a sweat, to be honest with you. But it'll be interesting, when he goes up against the likes of Terence Crawford and Keith one-time Thurman, how those fights will play out and how he does in those situations. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking Errol Spence or anything like that. I don't want anyone thinking that at all. He's obviously got, he's got a very good chance of becoming an undisputed champion at welterweight. I said there were 3 names that I believe can do that, and that's Keith Thurman, Terence Crawford, and Errol Spence. What can I say about Errol Spence's performance? Well, he did everything I said he would do in my prediction video, which was, he would use the jab because the jab's not really like a power punch or anything like that, like some fighters use it. When you look at Triple G, for example, it is a measuring tool, a rangefinder, a tool to set up his work to the body, which is exactly what he did, right from the off, popping that jab. I did knock his, because I reviewed his fights again against Algieri and Bundu, and the one against Bundu, I did criticise his jab, that his jab doesn't land enough. But last night it was crisp, it was on point, to be honest with you. It was on point, and he worked beautifully off it, just like I said he would. Worked the body, took Lamont Peterson's legs out from under him, slowed him down. So even if he wanted to change his mind and think, like, okay, I'm going to box instead, I'm going to use the ring, I'm going to move, he couldn't do it because he was so tired. Because Spence took the gas out of him. And, from that point on, he just started working on him, going to work on him. And eventually, the corner had to stop the fight, and rightfully so, it had to stop the fight. Even though Peterson had that look on his face, he's a warrior. He's got heart. And even though he would have gone in there round after round after round, his face was saying a different story. That's why his trainer said to him, look at me, look at me. Even though the words were saying, and he even said to me, he goes, you got to do what you got to do, but me, I'm going to keep going. Which is in a way saying that, what, coach, stop the fight. If you feel you need to stop the fight, stop the fight. But if you don't stop the fight, I'm going to keep going no matter what. And credit to him. He showed bags of heart, and multi-weight champion. He deserves a lot of respect. I don't want people knocking him, but his trainer made the right decision. You could see it in Peterson's face. He just didn't want anymore. Now, going back to Spence, if there's a couple of things I would pick out of Spence that I feel he needs to work on, and this is constructive criticism. This is not me saying, trying to knock Spence. I don't want people thinking that. Once again, it is just constructive criticism. I would like to see him work on his head movement a little bit. He doesn't move his head enough. I feel his head's an open target at times. He did get caught a few times. And when you're going up against someone like maybe Thurman, who boxes and moves and uses angles, you want to provide that head movement to go with it. For all I know, Errol Spence Jr. can do that, but he chooses not to, depending on the situation in the ring. So I could be wrong there, don't get me wrong. I haven't seen enough of that from him in his career as of yet, from all the fights I've seen of his. And I would like to see him show a little bit more head movement, or maybe he's just saving that for when he needs to do it. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But that's one thing I would pick out about him. The other thing is, I'm wondering how good Errol Spence Jr. is on the back foot. Because at moments where he was pushed back, and he did take a step back at times, not all, there weren't many occasions of that happened last night, but there were moments, and it just didn't seem like he had that ability to fight on the back foot. So again, that's something he probably wants to work on as well, because if he goes up against someone who can push him back, like a Terence Crawford, for example, he's going to want to be able to fight while he's on the back foot, and while he's moving up, if he's up against the ropes, or if he's trapped in the corners, etc., and stuff like that. So again, just a couple of things that I think I would like to see, or perhaps they're things that he can do, but we've just not seen. He's not had the opportunity to showcase those abilities. I don't know, but from what I've seen from him so far, those are the two things that I would probably give him in terms of constructive criticism. But overall, I thought it was a really good performance from Spence. Disappointed a little bit by Peterson, but showed bags of heart. Would have carried on going until the end. Would have gone out on his shield. Shout out to his trainer who stopped the fight. I know the crowds were booing, but at the end of the day, you've got to think about the safety of the fighter. And his trainer made the right decision, in my opinion. Peterson was asked whether he was going to continue boxing, but Peterson turned around and said, well, this isn't the place to have that conversation, rightfully so. He'd have to go away and think about it. But I think Peterson can come again. But whether he can be competitive at 147 in terms of a world title, that's another thing altogether. He's a big dude, Peterson. He is a massive welterweight. I have to admit, he is really big. When you see his physique, he's a big guy. And I'm wondering maybe he gives himself a chance or a shot at 154 perhaps, and moves up a weight division, because he is a big guy. I think he could make 154, and he could potentially pick up a title there with his style. He's a very good boxer. Despite what people are going to say and how much people are going to knock him, he is a good boxer, and I think he can come again. Definitely. I don't think his career is over just yet, in my opinion. Anyway, Errol Spence Jr. Just got to keep doing what he's doing, keep winning, keep racking up those wins, and then eventually those big fights against the likes of Thurman will come along, and then we'll see who's the king of the division. Alright, that's all I got for you guys on this one. As always, guys, like, share and subscribe. Until next time, this is Cypherbox reminding you to keep it real.